Now, we've been lucky enough to come across a brand new set of rear seats out of a 2007 TDCi Defender. And these were removed from a vehicle that was being prepared for an expedition, which meant that they didn't require the rear seats. They were going to use it for storage. So the same is applied obviously to our 110 Defender that we've taken on expeditions, and we've removed the rear seats and replaced those with various storage solutions, such as mounting half jerry can brackets on either of the side rear seats to allow us to store water on one side and fuel on another side. Now, the great thing about Defender is its versatility, and what we're planning for our next expedition is to take 4 people, and that's why we've actually mounted a roof rack on the top, because we've now lost quite a lot of our internal storage. And it looks like we can actually retrofit these without having to remove any of the original brackets. Now, that's important for us because we're always changing our vehicle internally to suit the number of people going on a trip. So there's about 20 years technology difference in these two seats. The weight difference is immense. This new 2007 Defender seat weighs probably 6 or 7 times the weight of this one here, but it's much more robust, much safer, and it's much more comfortable. It still has the same features. It'll flip down and fold out of the way, but if I can get it to fit into this vehicle, I think it's going to be a real addition to the comfort and security of the passengers inside. So initially, if we have a look inside here, what we've done is we've just removed the subframes. I'd like to leave those mounting brackets there if at a later date I want to remove these seats and reintroduce my original storage solutions for the jerry cans. Now, the best bit of advice I can give initially is these seats are very heavy. The double seat is really heavy, so I'd try and get 2 people to shoehorn them into the vehicle. And also, the mounting brackets they're on, they're actually sprung loaded and they're quite dangerous. So you want to keep your fingers away from those at all times. So let's put them in and see what we think. So what I'm doing now is I'm checking with our mounting plate that sits on the floor base in the back, so that when these seats are flipped down, they'll locate and lock into position on these bars. Now, to check I've got them spaced correctly, just offering them up there, and that's all going to locate in there, no problem at all. What's really good on a retrofit point of view is we've actually managed to get the seats in position without having to remove any of the original brackets. Now, in these positions here, there's actually a hole at the top and then 2 holes in the front face section. So we're going to drill these holes first, get them supported, and then we'll do the front ones. So just holding the seat in position. So we're now going to move on to the larger seat. Again, it's just 2 holes. So what we're going to do now is remove these rivets here to take this mounting plate off of the old seats, and we're going to replace that with a new bracket, which is this piece here. And hopefully, if we use an oversized drill bit, which is a 10mm that we use to drill the holes for the bolts, we'll just take the heads off these rivets off, leaving the main body of the rivets still in the bodywork, so we don't let any more water or dust or anything come into the cab. So quite simply, drill these off. Okay, now with a bit of persuasion, that'll come off, and I've got a bit of persuasion in my hand here, so there we go. So before I put the seats down, I'm actually going to get some shorter bolts on here. I'm going to use some big penny washers underneath for security and bolt these down tight before I load this into position to drill the holes for the front of the bracket. So I'm just going to score these positions now here so that we can mount this support box so that the rear of the seat doesn't actually foul the box itself. So having marked it, we know where it's going. So it's in position there. Just got a very basic hand rivet tool here. There, that's good and firm on there now, so that's a good support. The actual seat base itself is sitting slightly at an inclined angle, which isn't ideal. So what we're going to try and do, raise the height up. Essentially, it's going to raise the front of the seat up and mean it's a more comfortable seating position. So as you can see here, we've put a plate washer underneath each bracket between the bracket of the seat and the actual base of the vehicle. We've done that on the front as well down here. That all seems to sit in position. This is the mounting plate that we're talking about, and these actually fold down virtually flat, so you've still got relatively flat load space in the back of the vehicle. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to extend them, lock them in position, then lower the seats and see where they fall. First thing we need to do is measure that gap and get some ply to fit. So I've found my piece of ply that I'm going to use, 3/4 inch ply. That's going to be our base, and I'm going to use the plastic cowling that covers the brackets as a template. We'll cut round here, get that mounted in the back of the truck, and that should be a good base. Now, because we're leaving the original seat bracket mounts in there because they are good for tie downs, we're going to cut around those before we fit the wooden plate. So once that's down there, what you need to make sure is you've got these in the forward position here. To remove this one, that's it, drill through there. So we've got our initial fix in place, so now what we're going to do is make sure that everything's secured firmly to the ground. Obviously you've got to make sure that that base plate's fixed in there really tight. You're going to need a 70mm bolt for the front, for the forward facing hole, and that's because it goes through, passes into a cavity box section and through the other side, whereas these ones you can use 35-40mm bolts. So we managed to do it. We fitted a set of 60/40 rear seats from a 2008 Land Rover Defender into a 1991 V8 110. Obviously, one decision we did make was to actually raise the mounting bracket that's fixed into the rear load space of the vehicle where the seats lock into, rather than cut away at the wheel arch. Now, yesterday we had a quick look at a 2007 onwards model, and you can see that the angle of repose that they've used on the wheel arch frontage is actually much shallower, and that's how they've allowed the seats to sit down lower and give a nice reclined position. And as you can see, they do fit with a little bit of adjustment. Hopefully this will give you some inspiration to do your own fitments and obviously improve on what we've done. Any suggestions, just let us know.